Cascade Hoops Talk, this is Billy D. Hey, today we're heading out to the Crossroads League. We're talking to Steve Drabyn, Bethel Pilots. Cascade Hoops Talk starts right now. Cascade Hoops Talk, produced in the shadow of the beautiful Cascade Mountains and bringing the world NAIA basketball. One podcast at a time. Hey, today we have Steve Drabyn, Bethel University. They are the Pilots. They're located up there in Mishawaka, just outside of South Bend. Really kind of a cool place. A lot of schools located up in that area. Bethel is one of the storied programs in the NAIA. I remember them best for defeating Oregon Tech on a last-second shot in 1998. But Steve Drabyn is a fantastic basketball coach, even better person. Always enjoy talking to him. Let's take a listen to Steve Drabyn, Bethel University Pilots. Cascade Hoops Talk, Billy D. Hey, I got Steve Drabyn. He's the head men's basketball coach, Bethel Pilots up there in Mishawaka. Welcome, Steve. Thanks for being on.
Great to be on, Billy D. Thanks for having me.
I want to talk a little bit about last season coming up. But you guys just got back from something you do every year. You take the guys on a mission. This year you went to Costa Rica. I think it's really great a great thing the guys do. Could just talk about how that went this season.
Yeah, I went to took our team to Costa Rica. We did Dominican Republic 2 summers ago. We do it every other summer. Raise some money for it. Get some former players, coaches involved with it, helping with fundraising. It's just a great time to bond as a team, to serve together, to go through some hard stuff together. We serve the people of Costa Rica. We did a widows ministry. Where they talked about kind of how they serve their community, a Thrive ministry, which dealt with some like sex trafficking stuff, which was kind of heavy.
Yeah.
And then we did like a special needs ministry, went into a school and went into some classrooms to connect with some special needs students, and then did about 7 or 8 sports clinics. So it was really good to connect with the people there and to serve them. And as always on these trips, you go there to serve others, but you sense yourself being served and your heart being transformed even more than you would imagine. So great trip, great team bonding, and our guys definitely grew and were stretched spiritually.
Yeah, I believe you're correct, because every time I see any pictures or videos from when you guys do this, the guys are just grinning ear to ear. It's almost like they get more out of it, like you just said. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no doubt. We had one player. I was speaking to his mom. I try to call all the moms and dads, a week or 2 into school, and just to check in on them and stuff. And one of the moms mentioned after, we went into that school with the Thrive ministry, just how his heart was tugged with these kids. And he was thinking, man, I might change my major to try to help these types of kids. And so it definitely, tugs on the strings of our heart. And it's neat to see our guys, just connect in that way with each other and then with the people there.
Steve, the Pilots had a very good year last season, a good year, 14-4 in the conference. That's a pretty good feat in that conference. 24-9 overall. You got to host. That was pretty. That was good for the school. You defeated Peru State and Morningside. Went out and fell to LSU Alexandria there in Kansas City. But just talk a little bit about last season and how things just really seemed to come together, and what you learned from it, what you bring into this season from it.
Kind of started the year with preseason picks. We lose Drew Lutz and Nathan Ertz, who are great players in their own right. In the preseason, we got picked 7th, and it put a little bit of a chip on our guys' shoulders, and just looking at their faces when we got picked that. So I knew we'd have a little bit of an edge, and we went into practice and with a sense of urgency, and I was totally pleased with our leadership. I think from year to year, that's kind of the thing that you work on a lot, and what kind of player leadership, because player-led teams are just better than coach-led teams. They just are. And it started with Trent Edwards, just a consummate leader.
Yeah.
Guys gravitated towards him, just super unselfish, did things the right way. And Preston Phillips was just a all-purpose utility type player, can do a little bit of everything. He shot the ball extremely well late in the year. And then 2 bruisers down low, James Anderson and Ike Ume. So we had a lot at our disposal, and we didn't have any All-Americans per se, but we had just a lot of really good players that were unselfish, that did things the right way. And we were a lot better defensively It's my best defensive team since I've been at Bethel. You know, we finished 41st in the country defensive efficiency, and doing that with our league is impressive in my opinion, just because of the offensive firepower that's in our league. You know, I think we had 3 teams in the top 10 in offensive efficiency.
Yeah.
So to do what we did defensively, I was extremely pleased. I think we finished 17th in offensive efficiency, which that quite honestly, that was the worst since I've been here. But we were just so much better defensively that it really helped us.
You haven't even, as we speak, you're still 2 days away from practice. A little early to talk rosters, but one guy you got coming back. He seems like he's been around forever. Jameer Jefferson. I bring him up every time I talk to you guys.
Yeah.
Because the first time I ever met him, I watched him play. I thought, well, he must have brought him in like a defensive specialist, and he was a real good defender, kind of a one-dimensional player, and his game has just blossomed. Just watching the growth of guys is one of the most satisfying things of being a basketball fan, to see where they get. That's got to be. I mean, that's huge for you for him to have these different skill sets now.
Man, there's no doubt. You know, Greg Miller, my assistant a couple of years ago, had a connection with Jameer. He coached him at Trinity International a few years before he got here. And, you know, when we had a spot open up kind of late in the summer, a couple of summers ago, he said, yeah, I still got this guy that's, that's a possibility. And so we called him up, and he took a Greyhound bus through the night from Memphis, Tennessee, to make it to Bethel University in Mishawaka, Indiana. And that told me right there that, man, he's a guy that'll do what it takes. And he had a great visit, and man, his leadership, and just his growth over the last couple of years has been awesome. And he's going to be one of our leaders this year, and he just sets the tone with his energy, and so excited about what he's going to do this year.
Yeah, Steve, you've been what are you going into, your 7th year or 6th year there at Bethel?
Crazy. I was sitting with Scott Moore at the league meetings last week, and
Oh, I'm sorry I had to do that.
Scott and I are, yeah, really. Scott and I are the 3rd longest tenured coaches in the league. It's crazy.
Oh my goodness.
I feel like I just got here. I know Scott's been around longer as an assistant, but
Well, you didn't really know what to expect when you got there. You took off like gangbusters immediately. You've had some really good seasons. What's life been with the Bethel Pilots? Is it what you imagined, or more?
yeah, I mean, it's been more. I mean, just the people here at Bethel. We got some new administration. Dr. D. McDonald is our new president. Just his vision and his energy and positivity has been awesome to see. And Jason Lukowitz is our new athletic director, and taking over for Tony Natale, who did a phenomenal job and had an unbelievable career here at Bethel. And so there's some new life and some new energy here on campus, and excited about that going forward. And just I love what we've been able to accomplish, and just assistants I've had and the players that we brought in. And we truly have brought in. I talk about the ideal team player a lot, book by Patrick Lencioni, and humble guys that are hungry and who are smart and do things the right way. And so pleased where we're at, and just the character and the leadership that we have, and look forward to continuing it.
Steve, I've heard you talk about having, I think it's in your bio too, having coaches who fed into you or helped you grow, and that's one of the satisfying things for you as a coach. And I've heard different coaches say that. What opportunities are there to improve and grow young men?
Yeah, that's a great question. For me, I love the college level and just coaching these men at the ages that they're at and maturity levels they're at. They're 18 to 24-year-old guys that, just can be molded big time. We talk a lot about, what it means to be a man biblically, and our society teaches us ego and selfishness and get what you want to get. And it's a lot of transactional. And so being a man biblically for us, we talk about it often, is rejecting passivity, accepting responsibility, leading courageously, and giving God all the glory. And, we dive into that stuff quite often. And, basketball is awesome. We want to win games and pursue excellence and all that we do there. But, we want to do the stuff off the floor and have an impact on our communities and grow in our faith and impact God's kingdom for eternity. And that's kind of what we're after. And, we do a gratitude talk after practice every day and workouts, and it's just neat to see our guys grow in that way, and that, hey man, we're grateful for what we have. And, even through the challenging times, how do we glorify God through even the challenging times? Absolutely. So it's something that's been fun as a coach to see just growth in a team and growth in individuals.
Steve, when you're out recruiting, how do you tease that out of guys, whether or not they will fit within your
your team, that culture?
Great question. When we first look at guys, obviously we're evaluating their basketball skill. Can they, play at our level in our conference, and do they fit us as with their skill level? Then from there we go into character. How are they in the classroom? What kind of leader are they? Are they positive? Are they good teammates? It's really going into that humble, hungry, smart thing where do they have the humility? Would they rather score 2 points and win, or 20 points and lose, type of thing. And really dive into parents, really getting to know parents well, and getting to know, high school coaches, AU coaches. And, we do a lot of work on the front end to try to make sure we get the right kind of guy, and not necessarily, not necessarily having guys that are fits for us. But we want them, I'm sorry, we want to be fits for them. If they come to
Exactly.
Bethel, they know what they're getting into, and they know what it's all about, so that there's no surprises.
Yeah.
And so, and even if guys, we've had good players that we passed up on, or that have passed up on us, that it's just not good fits, and that's okay.
Well, you've done a good job of it, that's for sure. Let's talk a little about Crossroads basketball. It's kind of a patty cake league. No, you coach in the Crossroads, one of the toughest conferences in the country. Talk about what it's like day in, day out to have to compete in the Crossroads, not only during the season, but then you have to go out during off season, and you got that arms race. Everybody's trying to bring in the best guys around the area. Talk about competing in that league.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal league, and coming into I knew I wanted to come to a place like a Bethel to coach and compete against the best, and I think our league is one of the best, if not the best. Just from a coaching standpoint, you just have coaches that have been around for a while. The Ryan Cottinghams, Greg Tonagel, Scott Moores do such a great job with their teams, their programs. Obviously, they recruit well, they coach well. But I think the best part of our league, and it's just the culture that our coaches create. And I think it's just for me, it makes me better as a coach, makes our team better. So that if we're fortunate to make the national tournament, we're prepared, because our league has prepared us well. I think of guys like Jared Ronay as well, just what he's done over there.
Yeah.
Guys that create great cultures. I'm trying to think of that term that he uses, Coach Ronay, rural cougar, and just the culture that he's created. And I've learned a lot from these guys, and I know we're competing hard against each other, but at the end of the day, we're friends, and we want to help our guys grow as well. So yeah, it's fun, challenging. It's, you have some tough nights and some tough stretches and that type of thing, but at the end of the day, it's going to make you better.
Yeah, it appears, at least from the outside, that it's a very close coaching fraternity within the Crossroads League.
Yeah, for sure. A bunch of guys that similar backgrounds, and just how we've come up through the ranks of coaching and even playing. And it's neat to going to the Crossroads League meetings last week, and connecting with them, catching up, and seeing how things are going for them. And it is a cool fraternity, and one that I think we'll maintain for a long time, no matter where anybody's at.
Steve, you're coming into this season. You got a little bit of a retool. Like I said, it's a little early to talk about rosters, but you got some guys coming back. You went out and recruited and picked up some new guys. Talk about the team you were trying to build, and what holes were you trying to fill as you went out and recruited this season?
Yeah, so I feel really good where we're at. We're at 9 out of 9 guys that were able to come back. So feel great about that. Then 7 of those guys played meaningful minutes last year for a 24-9 team, Sweet 16 team, finishing second in the Crossroads. So feel really confident going in where we're at. I think our guys know, just our identity, who we are. We had a really good summer of workouts, and so I think we're pretty prepared. We're pretty experienced coming in. Maybe one of my most experienced groups I've had since I've been here. And then we lost three big guys. Obviously, Trent Edwards, our kind of engine that made us go. But then 3 bigger guys in Preston Phillips, James Anderson, Ikume. But feel good about Bo Jackway coming back. I think he's going to have a big year. Al Petulus, he's been around for a couple minutes. And him having a healthy year. He's had a couple tough years health-wise. And then, a lot of good guards coming back that I think are going to take huge steps forward. You got Luke McBride, Colin Cummer, Jameer Jefferson, Austin Cripe, Andrew Hedrick, that I think are going to come in. And guys had great summers, came in great shape, and they're better and ready to take on a challenging league and schedule.
So you're going to kick off at home November 4th. We got Holy Cross. You're doing the Chicagoland tour before you kick off Crossroads.
Yep.
Holy Cross, Rochester, Michigan, Dearborn, and then you have that long, brutal road trip to IU South Bend. What is that, about 8 minutes?
Gosh, I think it's less than that. I think it's 5. Yeah.
Yeah. I know I talked to Scott Cooper the other day. I know that's a big, I don't know if rivalry is the right thing, but a big, as long as as he always said, as long as Notre Dame wasn't playing, but you're playing on a Wednesday night, so you should get a
Yeah.
pretty good crowd for that one, huh? That's a
Yeah,
big
it should
game
be
for you
good.
guys, isn't it?
Yeah, Holy Cross and IU South Bend. I mean, they're right here, so we're going to play them every year. As long as those coaches are good with it, and yeah, good little local rivalry, and teams that they're going to challenge you, and different styles of play. That's good for
Yeah.
us to play against. So, and yeah, Scott and Coach Lady's done a really good job over there.
Yeah. It's a kind of a little basketball hub right there. Well, it's a big basketball hub right in that area. I asked Scott Cooper about this. Does that make it a little tougher with the whole transfer portal because there's so many opportunities for guys to go and play and still be close enough for their families to watch them? Does that make it a little more challenging?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't. It's good and bad, I guess. Good in the sense that if you have players from this area, go play elsewhere, kind of out of the area. If things don't work out for them, wanting to get back to the local area, that's good for us. You have guys like Drew Lutz was
Right.
the case. I'll take a Drew Lutz any day of the week.
Exactly. Yeah.
But then it's challenging too. Where you have kids that want to go out of the area. We've got such a good, obviously the state of Indiana. We've done a better job since I've been here of getting Indiana guys. I think this year we've got 11 out of 15 guys from the state of Indiana. And I'm biased. I'm from Indiana. I think the high school coaching here is phenomenal. And I tell people all the time, I don't need to go to basketball clinics. I just go to Indiana high school workouts and practices.
There you go. Yeah. No
I
kidding.
take my notebook and learn new drills and philosophies. And yeah, we want to recruit Indiana just because of the great high school coaching and the great high school players that are here.
Well, Steve, as we said, it's only a couple days till you kick off practice. How excited are you? All ready to go? Guys are in campus, ready to start on Monday, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. We're excited. Going to be a great year and looking forward to getting rolling.
Well, Steve, I really appreciate you taking a couple minutes here early in the morning with us, and I want to wish you luck. And of course, we'll talk more as this tough Crossroads League gets started.
Awesome, Billy D, you're the best. Appreciate all you do.
Okay, thanks a lot. That's Steve Drabyn. He's the head men's basketball coach, Bethel Pilots. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Steve. I know you.
Hey, thanks a lot to Steve Drabyn and to the Bethel Pilots, Bethel University. I've been there a couple times. They're always really gracious, giving me any access that I want. And I really appreciate that. Speaking of that, I get back out to Indiana here at the end of October. I'm looking forward to that too. I just want to say, if I'm not getting your coach on, it's probably because I either haven't got to him yet or can't make contact with him. Just have them send me a note. I'm easy to find on X or Facebook or Substack. I want to get the ultimate goal every year is to get every coach in the country on. Probably won't do it. I try every year. But boy, let's make that happen. And I need your help to make it happen. Thank you so much for all the support you've given the show so far this year. And we'll talk tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you very much for supporting our podcast. Please like and subscribe. Get out to your local NAIA school because NAIA basketball is the best entertainment value in America.